What's up YouTube? Welcome to the channel. My name is Fareed and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Cardano Scoop. If it's your first time visiting the channel, I aim to provide you guys in the Cardano community with the latest news when it comes to the top dApps within the Cardano ecosystem. And so if that kind of content interests you, then please make sure to tap that like button. If it's your first time running across the channel, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments about any of the content covered in today's video, then make sure to leave a comment down below. Without any further ado, we're going to quickly jump into today's agenda, in which we're going to be talking first about the Vasil hard fork and where we stand in terms of its release date. And then I also want to take a quick second to talk about some general updates when it comes to Cardano. And then once we wrap that up, I want to talk about some specific dApps on the Cardano blockchain. And so the first dApp I want to talk about is actually going to be MELD. They've recently released a new article surrounding the Akamon bridge and USDT support in the coming future. Now, once we wrap that up, I want to talk a little bit about Cornucopias, which has so many updates in store within the next few weeks. And we've actually just seen the recent release of the Copy Wiki, or excuse me, the slide deck for their custom dome NFTs. Now, once we wrap that up, I do want to quickly go over an article surrounding Genius Yield, which is a DEX platform launching on Cardano. And so without any further ado, I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. And the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be some Cardano development updates. So let me go ahead and pop that up here for you guys. And if you guys are not already aware of Essential Cardano, this is basically going to be a website where we're going to get about weekly or so updates when it comes to the development of the Cardano blockchain. And so if you're interested in keeping up with these kinds of things, I highly recommend that you access this particular website. And a lot of the content that I'm going to be covering today is also available on crypto Twitter. And so if you're not following a lot of the bigger accounts when it comes to Cardano, I highly recommend that you do that as well. Now, when it comes to actual development, again, this is a weekly recap of the development, and this was actually released on August 12th. So it is slightly dated. They do release this every Friday, and so we are expecting to get another update actually tomorrow. And so with that said, I'll be keeping you guys updated. But what I wanted to highlight here was actually this item here, which is the node or the Cardano node version 1.35.3. Which has officially been released. And so what I wanted to highlight there is that that particular Cardano node version has also actually been marked as the official candidate for the Vasil hard fork. And so if you guys are not familiar with the Vasil hard fork, this is going to be a scalability upgrade coming to Cardano. It's basically going to allow for Cardano to process transactions at a much faster rate than it currently is right now. And so again, taking a look at this here, we also had the Marlow playground, which was recently updated. And so this is similar to a testnet environment. So it's really good to see that they're making a lot of progress when it comes to the Cardano ecosystem development. Now, I want to quickly touch on some of the projects that are currently building on Cardano. We've now bumped up to a total of 93 different projects currently launched on Cardano. Now, with that said, there's more than 1,000 different dApps across the Cardano ecosystem that are currently building as we speak. So that's really it. That's what I wanted to highlight here in terms of development for Cardano. Next, what I want to talk to you guys about is going to be the Vasil hard fork. And so I'm actually going to go ahead and just quickly change tabs here. And as I mentioned earlier, the hard fork is going to basically bring a lot of different scalability updates to the Cardano blockchain. And so here we actually have a tweet directly from Charles Hoskinson, who is basically the CEO of Input Output Global, which is also building Cardano. And so he has a lot of insight when it comes to the development of Cardano because he's so close to the foundation that's actually building it. And so here he basically had a tweet and he's basically encouraging stake pool operators or SPOs to basically upgrade to the latest version of the Cardano node, which I mentioned earlier is 1.35.3. And so I want to quickly read this here. It states, last week, the team released node version 1.35.3. This is our release candidate to the hard fork of the Cardano mainnet. We recommend that SPOs and dApps upgrade to the new node and test it now. As usual, any issues you may encounter can be reported in GitHub, which is obviously a good thing, right? We want to make sure that any of these things that we catch in terms of bugs or issues are reported adequately so that the team can turn around and fix them in the appropriate amount of time. And so it says here, please use the label Vasil to mark any Vasil related issues. As an SPO, we recommend that you first upgrade your nodes and test the latest Vasil functionality on the preview environment. So if you guys are not familiar with traditional software development, normally before you deploy something on the mainnet, you have like this kind of development environment or sandbox. Some people call it that. Now, once you test things in your sandbox and you confirm that everything works as expected, you then basically promote those changes to the next environment, which is an environment that kind of mimics the production or the live environment a little bit more closely. And then once everything checks out in that particular environment, you then move everything to the mainnet, being that it's all already been tested. And so with that said, it looks like what Charles is encouraging a lot of the stake pool operators within the Cardano community to do is actually upgrade to Cardano node version 1.3.5 on the testnet in order to begin testing as soon as possible. Now it says from there, you can move to the pre-production environment. And then it also states this will be your final stage testing grounds as it matches configurations on the mainnet. And so again, you're first going to want to test everything on the preview environment. From there, you're going to move on to the dev net. And then after that, you're going to want to test one more time in the pre-production environment. Now, moving along, it says here, it is currently running on Alonzo, again, the pre-production environment. So if you wish to test any Vasil features before the hard fork, you'll need to configure the node to point at either the DevNet or the preview environment. One other thing to note about the hard fork is that the Cardano node version 1.35.3 will not work with the current version of the Cardano testnet. And so with that said, without getting too technical, it looks like things are progressing in terms of the Vasil hard fork. And so what I really wanted to highlight here next was what IOG, the Cardano Foundation, is actually looking forward before finally upgrading to the Vasil hard fork. So it looks like what they're now going to be waiting on is going to be at least 75% of the stake pool operators to upgrade to the new Cardano node version. Now, on top of that, what else are they actually looking for? They're going to be looking for the top 10 dApps within the Cardano ecosystem to also have been upgraded. And then in addition to that, they also want to make sure that the top exchanges also have updated their software to be compatible with the Vasil hard fork. And so I think that this makes sense. We definitely want to make sure that the top dApps within the ecosystem are all comfortable with the changes coming down the pipeline. And then same thing with the DEXs, right? If those aren't functioning correctly, it's going to be really hard to get any liquidity or any Cardano into the ecosystem. And so I think the fact that they're looking for at least 75% of the stake pool operators, that should be the majority of them out there. And once they reach that, I think that they're going to be a lot more comfortable pushing the updates for the Vasil hard fork. Now, going back here to what I was trying to illustrate, right now, it looks like in terms of the versions, we have a total of about 15% of the stake pool operators who've already upgraded to that particular version, 1.35.3. And then the previous version appears to have about 69% of the remaining stake pool operators still running on that version. And so it looks like there's still a little bit of progress to go before we hit that 75%. And then in terms of the top 10 dApps, I personally have not heard, what dApps they're going to be looking at, but I'm interested to see what kind of criteria they're going to be looking for in terms of determining those top 10 dApps, and then what they're actually going to do in terms of monitoring how the testing for each one of those dApps moves along. So that's really it in terms of the Vasil hard fork and some of the updates that have recently been announced. Again, without getting too technical, I wanted to give you guys a brief update. Now, if you're interested in getting a much more technical update, I do want to quickly point you guys to a recent video that was just released by Crypto Capital Venture, who's one of the top influencers within not only the Cardano ecosystem, but within the blockchain space. And so he actually just released this about two and a half hours ago. And so this was a quick interview with Adam Dean, who actually raised some concerns surrounding the Vasil hard fork on Twitter, and then also with Adam Westberg. Now, both of these gentlemen are going to be OGs when it comes to the stake pool operation game. They've both been within the Cardano ecosystem since its inception. So a lot of really good content here. I highly recommend that you guys check this out in its entirety. It's going to talk a little bit about, some of the events that have led up until now, and then what the plans are hopefully moving forward. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for the first topic of the day, which again was the Vasil hard fork. And so next, what I want to talk to you guys about is something which is going to be coming up within the Cardano community. It's actually going to be a community event. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be attending this one just yet, but I am excited to announce it here. So let me share my screen once more. And what we're going to be talking about is going to be an announcement for the Cardano Summit. And so the Cardano Summit is going to be a Cardano community event in which there's going to be numerous talks, presentations, demos, and live events. Now, it's all Cardano based. And if you did not attend last year, they actually had Cardano Summit 2021. I personally did not participate. However, I heard a lot of good reviews about the Cardano Summit. And on top of that, there was a lot of complimentary NFTs and gifts that just went along with the event. And so if you're looking to just hear more about Cardano, what's actually going on within the ecosystem, if you want to meet some of the top influencers within the space, I highly recommend checking out this particular event. And if you want, you can actually check out the summit.cardano.org website. And this is going to have all of the information right now for the previous year's Cardano Summit. But I anticipate that within the next few weeks here, we're probably going to see them update this website in regards to Cardano Summit 2022. So that was that. I believe that that's it. And so now we're going to quickly shift gears and we're going to talk about a DeFi project that's probably one of my favorites, and that's going to be MELD. Now, if you guys are not aware, I am a MELD ambassador, so I do want to be upfront about that before we continue. But what I want to talk to you guys about today is going to be the Akamon bridge and some support for the USDT token. And so if you're not familiar with Akamon or just MELD in general, MELD is going to be a DeFi banking protocol coming to Cardano. They aim to simplify the process of crypto loans. And so not only will they be supporting crypto to crypto loans, but they'll also be accepting crypto to fiat loans. And so as a part of that process, they're actually going to be building out a bridge called the Akamon bridge. And the Akamon bridge is going to allow for liquidity to come in from the Polygon network into the Cardano ecosystem. Now, it's also going to work in the opposite direction, and it's going to allow for liquidity to basically move from Cardano into the Polygon ecosystem if you're looking to move your funds over there. And so understanding that, what I want to quickly take a look at is the MELD website. So let me close this out here. And what we're going to do here is I just want to give you guys a brief intro to Akamon. As I mentioned earlier, it's a bridge between the Polygon network and Cardano. And I believe the MELD team will be expanding this in the coming months to be able to support additional blockchains. However, they have not yet confirmed what other blockchains they plan on supporting. But if you guys have been paying attention to their Twitter, I think it was a few months back, they actually had a Twitter poll in which they were asking the community about which blockchain they would be most interested in seeing coming to the Akamon platform. And the response to that from the community was the BNB chain. And so I'll be super excited to see if they adopt the BNB blockchain into Akamon. But I think that regardless, just the Matic or the Polygon blockchain is a really good starting point. Now, I do want to be clear here that the testnet is currently unavailable, but I want to quickly show you guys the user interface. When you're accessing Akamon, you're basically going to be able to access the MELD website. And then from here, you'll be able to connect different wallets. Now, right now, all three wallets are showing up as unavailable, but traditionally, you'll be able to access your MetaMask wallet, your Nami wallet, or your Eternal wallet. Now, once you connect your MetaMask wallet and then your Cardano-based wallet, you'll basically be able to identify what tokens you want to port over from which chain to the other. Once you do that, you can click on this transfer button, and then you can actually view your activity history here. So it's a pretty simple process, but this was just the preamble, I guess you can call it, into what I really wanted to talk about, which is this particular article. So as I mentioned before, the MELD team will now be incorporating a stablecoin on their Akamon bridge. And so here it says, comparing Cardano stablecoin solutions and the benefits Akamon will bring to the ecosystem. USDT is coming to Cardano. I'm extremely excited about this. I know that there's been a lot of concerns, especially with the bridge in the past few weeks. Ken Oling, who is the CEO of MELD, did recently release an article, an interview on the digital asset news platform, in which he basically talked about what MELD is doing in terms of preventing some of these hacks that we've seen on some of these recent platforms from occurring on the Akamon bridge. And so one of the actual things that he mentioned during that call was the use of a feature that would basically allow for the MELD team to stop or pause transactions in order to review them in the event of an emergency. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail there, but if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about the Akamon security, I'll leave a link to that particular video down in the description. Pivoting back to this article here, it says Cardano has a real stablecoin solution, has no real stablecoin solution at the moment. As a result, all native tokens on Cardano are being traded against ADA, and all transactions in Cardano have to be paid in ADA. Moving along, the lack of stablecoins has a direct consequence. While most major trading pools and lending pools involve stablecoins, token holders tend to move away from Cardano to trade their assets elsewhere. And so again, I think this just kind of legitimizes the need for stablecoins. You could basically imagine that if you don't have a stablecoin and you're making trades, if the coin that you're holding, right, is very volatile, that can be uncomfortable. And so the benefit of a stablecoin is that that's going to give you an opportunity to basically swap out of that volatile asset in order to go into something that has a stable price. And so stable coins are cryptos basically designed to have a stable price, and they typically are pegged to a commodity. Now, what we're going to see here are going to be some additional points from Stuart, who's one of MELD's technical writers, about why the USDT that they're going to be bringing over might actually be better than the Jet stablecoin, which will be a Cardano native stablecoin being run by the Cody team. Now here it talks a little bit about JED, and again it mentions JED is an algorithmic stablecoin that uses smart contracts to ensure its price stability, but then it also goes to talk a little bit more about the JED model. Now I'm going to skip some of this article down here, and I'm going to come down here. Now it says, besides native stablecoin solutions like JED or Sigma USD, there is another solution. And so simply speaking, USDT will be bridged from the Polygon or Ethereum networks to Cardano so that each wrapped token, MUSD or melded USD, on the Cardano side will be backed one-to-one by exactly one USDT locked in a smart contract on Polygon. So again, you're basically going to be able to take your USDT from Ethereum. You're going to be able to pass that through the Akamon bridge. It's going to lock up that USDT on the Polygon or Ethereum network, and it's going to mint one melded USDT on the Cardano blockchain, and you can basically use that on the Cardano blockchain. Now, if you wanted to, you could revert that back to the traditional USDT, again, by using the Akamon bridge. Now, what are some of the benefits of using a wrapped stablecoin as opposed to JED? So here, it basically mentions that wrapping stablecoins via Akamon will be cheaper, more stable, and offer higher liquidity. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to be able to go through the remaining part of the articles. It is very technical, but as you guys can see here, I've highlighted some of these section titles. And so this particular section is going to go over how the stablecoin solutions will actually be cheaper than JED. But then it also talks about the stability of the stablecoins and the higher liquidity rates. And so with that said, that's really going to wrap it up for today's update on the MELD protocol. Again, just a pretty big update when it comes to the Akamon bridge. And the MELD team, really has been building. They're still releasing a lot of technical reports. And I've actually just released a video covering a technical report about not only the Akamon bridge, but also their Golden Bank managers. And so if you're not aware, MELD will be releasing their Golden Bank managers within the next few months. They did say that they've been a little backed up because they're trying to make sure that the art that they're going to be releasing for the bank managers NFTs is high quality. So I'm totally fine with that. I'm looking forward to it. But I highly recommend that you guys check out my latest video on the MELD protocol if you guys are looking to find out more about what they're doing during this bear market. Next, we're going to be switching gears and we're going to be talking about one of my favorite metaverse projects, which is going to be Cornucopias. And so over the last few weeks, the Cornucopias team has been anticipating their second NFT sale, which is going to be for their custom domes. If you've never heard of Cornucopias before, they're a metaverse project building on Unreal Engine 5, building on Cardano. And so what I want to show you guys today is going to be the custom slide deck, which they just released for their NFT sale. And then after we review that, I do want to quickly highlight some recent footage that we've just seen released for their mobile game. So let me share my screen with you guys again. And first things first, we're going to take a quick look at the custom dome slide deck. So this was actually just released about 3 or so hours ago, if that. So this is fresh off the press. And first things first, I see that the projected mint date is going to be on August 26th through the 28th. So I'm super excited for this. It should be in about a week or so. And again, this is going to be an NFT sale for the Cornucopias project. All right, scrolling down, what I want to talk about are going to be not only the projected mint dates, but I want to talk about some of the pricing associated with these NFTs, the size associated with the custom domes, and then some of the utilities that they offer. So taking a look here at the table of contents, we can see that this slide deck is 28 pages. So it looks like the Copy team has not missed a single question. So again, if you guys have not gotten a chance to check this out just yet, I highly recommend that you do so. It's going to be very informative, and I actually have not gotten the chance to check it out in its entirety, but I will be breaking it down over the next few days, and I'll be releasing some additional content breaking this information down. So I'm going to quickly skip down all the way to the very bottom. And what I wanted to highlight here is that the mint schedule is to be determined. And so in their first NFT sale, we basically saw that they implemented a tier system in which they basically allowed for different tiers. I think they had 4 different tiers. They had the OGs. After the OGs, they had the NFT holders, and then they had the Cornucopians T1, and then the Cornucopians T0. I believe the Cornucopians T1 were anybody who were within the Discord for more than 30 days, whereas the Cornucopians T0 was anybody who was within their Discord for less than 30 days. And so if you were an OG, you basically got first dibs when it came to their minting of their first land sale, followed by anybody who held an NFT vehicle, and then followed by the 2 other Cornucopian tiers. And so understanding that, it looks like they have not yet confirmed at which times the different tiers will be allowed to mint. And so I'll be keeping you guys again updated as soon as they release this kind of information. Now, scrolling up a little bit, we're going to talk about some of the prices associated with this particular NFTs. But before we do that, I did want to quickly highlight the supply. So again, we can actually use this chart here, and we can read it from left to right, and we can also read it from top down. If we're looking at it from left to right, what this is going to be telling us is the total amount of NFTs available per role, or per tier, I should say. So this first tier is going to be for OG roles or OG members. Again, this is going to be for anybody who's considered an OG member in the Discord. If you own an OG bubble jet, that is different. That will not classify you as an OG member. So I do want to be clear about that. And so taking a look here for the first tier, when it comes to the domes, on August 26th, which is their first day of the projected NFT land sale, the OGs will have a total of about 40 NFTs to snag. And then when it comes to the epic size domes, which is the second largest, there's going to be about 80 of those to snag. And then when it comes again to the third largest, which is the large, there's going to be 120 of those, and then medium 200, and then 520 small domes. So I hope you guys can kind of see how I'm reading this here left to right. Similar thing with the second tier. As we can see, because there's going to be more people within the second tier, there is a much higher supply rate. And then again, for anybody else who isn't any of these first two tiers, on the first day, surprisingly, they're not going to have any custom domes available. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. But I think there's going to be a lot of competition for these custom NFTs, or for these custom dome NFTs. Now, in terms of the total supply, we're going to see a total supply of 6,000 custom domes. I believe in the first NFT land sale, we saw about 24,000 land parcels go out for their custom theme zones. When it comes to the total public supply, there's going to be a total of about 4,240 NFTs up for grabs. So it looks like they may have subtracted the total amount maybe being given out by the OGs, but that math doesn't add up. So I'm not really sure how they got the total public supply versus the total supply. They may be holding some of these NFTs back for future sales, or maybe for some internal sales. So again, I'm going to try to figure out exactly what that discrepancy is and how they came to that number there. Now moving along, talking about some of the actual sizes and the diameters for these NFTs. Just like we saw in the first NFT land sale, there's going to be a total of 5 different NFT land sizes. So starting from the smallest to the largest, we're going to have the small dome, which will have a diameter size of about 113 meters. And that's also going to have a size of about 10,000, geez, that's huge, 10,000 square, is that kilometers? Or no, square meters, excuse me. And again, there's going to be a total supply of about 1,900 of these small NFTs. Next, we have the medium, which will have a diameter of about 152 meters with a size of about twice of the small dome. So this will be a 18,000 or so square meters. And this is actually going to run you about $400 USD. So in the first NFT land sale, I believe the small land plots cost about $180, whereas the copious cost about $1,700, I think it was. And so to see that the custom domes are following a similar price structure does appear to be pretty cool. Now, when it comes to the copious land size, that does appear to be a little bit more expensive than previously. But before we get to that, let's finish reviewing the large dome. So the large dome, which is the third largest, will be 194 meters with a total size of about 30,000 square meters. So it's about 3 times the size of the small dome. Now, in terms of the price, it is also about 3 times the price. And so it looks like in terms of ratios, things seem to be somewhat 1-to-1 so far. Next, we have the Epic Dome, which is going to be about 300 square meters in diameter. And it's now going to be about 70 or 68,000 square meters. And there's going to be only a public supply of 320 of these again. So what you're going to notice here is that as the sizes of the custom domes is increasing, the public supply is actually decreasing. And so when it comes to the copious dome, which is going to be the biggest dome and probably the most sought after dome, these are going to be about 380 meters in diameter with a size of about 113,000 square meters. And there's only going to be a total supply of 80 of these. So I do believe there's going to be a lot of competition for this particular NFT. And it's actually going to cost about 2,500 USD. So anywhere from between 220 USD all the way to about 2,500 USD. And then when it comes to the actual price, I do want to be clear here that just like in the first NFT land sale, the Copy team has yet to identify how much ADA you're actually going to have to use in order to purchase NFTs. That's because they're going to be using a snapshot of the price of ADA on a particular date in the future to be able to determine how much ADA you need to use in order to purchase these NFTs. However, it's going to be the equivalent of 2,500 USD at whatever time they choose to take that snapshot. I hope that makes sense. So now that we've talked about the sizing and the prices of the custom domes, I'm going to scroll up a little bit and I'm going to quickly highlight here that you will have the ability to stake your custom dome NFTs. However, there hasn't been a lot of information released about that. But one thing that is clear is that the size and rarity will determine the staking multipliers for each of the domes that you own. So that's pretty cool to see there. I'm not sure if I highlighted the different rarities. So just like we have 5 different sizes, we do have 5 different rarities, starting from the least common, or starting from the most common, excuse me. We're going to have the common rarity, followed by the uncommon rarity. After uncommon, we have rare. And then after rare, we have legendary. And then the most rare is going to be the mythic rarity. So those are the 5: common, uncommon, rare, legendary, and mythic. All right, moving along, what I want to talk to you guys about here are going to be some additional features that I'm excited to actually see in the slide deck. And so it looks like with the custom domes, you're basically going to be able to use these different cloud gates, which the Copy team did give us a preview of in the past. Now, once you use the cloud gates, they're basically going to allow for you to travel within the Cornucopias metaverse, right? So it's going to be kind of like a quick travel feature. Now, when you actually go to quick travel, right, at a cloud gate, a player will have access to the Cornucopias MSEM service to quickly navigate the directory of available domes. In the event that it is a public dome, rarity will be used to determine the order in which some of the results in terms of the domes that are available are going to be displayed. So you can kind of think of this as a search engine almost, kind of like a Google, right? You go and you type in Cornucopias and then you get a hit list of different resources, right? And so this is basically telling you that depending on the rarity of your dome, you could show up in the results at a higher place. So I think this is going to bring a different element to the game. And I can definitely see, bigger companies trying to take advantage of this particular feature. In the same breath, I do want to quickly highlight here that there will be advertisement credits. So if you're a big business looking to advertise within the Cornucopias metaverse, you will have the opportunity to do that. And so it says here, advertisement credits. These credits can be used to redeem ad time throughout our metaverse. And that's going to be done in order to promote services or experiences you're offering in your particular dome. Rarities, again, will determine the amount of credits received. Now, where can you actually use these advertisement credits, you might ask? You can use them on public transportation ads, highway billboards and banners, structural banners, and signage. On top of that, you're also going to get access to custom building kits depending on the rarity of your NFT. So if you guys aren't catching the drift here, the rarity of your custom domes does seem to play a huge factor in terms of what you're going to be able to do within the Cornucopias metaverse. But I think regardless, even if you land a common, the fact that you guys are getting into Cornucopias, especially this early on, I think is a game changer. So I'll definitely be participating in this particular mint. However, this should not be considered as financial advice. I really just want to educate you guys about what's going to be coming down the pipelines from the Cornucopias team. And I hope that you guys can access this slide deck in order to figure out what you guys plan to do when it comes to your custom dome NFT strategy. Now, speaking of strategy, I want to quickly touch on that here, and then we're going to wrap it up in terms of the custom dome sale. Again, so much information. I mean, let me just take a second just to kind of scroll here. The graphics are flawless. It seems like every time the Cornucopias team releases something, it's like they've taken hours to comb through it and just make sure that everything is flawless. And that's one thing that I'm really, really excited for about what the Cornucopias team is. Not only are they building on Unreal Engine 5 with the latest graphics, but the team itself, it seems like they're working very, very well together. They're transparent about everything that they're building. If you guys are not already following their Copy Cafe series, I highly recommend that you check them out over there. In that series, it's basically where Rob and Josh, who are the CEOs of Cornucopias, they give weekly updates to the community about the game. So if you're interested in keeping up with Cornucopias, I highly recommend that you check that out. All right. A lot of great artwork here. Again, I'm going to leave the link to this down in the description below. But I want to highlight here what you can actually do with your custom dome. So here, with endless opportunities to build and customize, our custom domes are a perfect place for all types of individuals and businesses to craft a world around their product and services. So who can actually use these? DAOs and guilds, right? DAOs are going to be decentralized autonomous organizations, and then guilds are going to be groups working together within the Cornucopias metaverse. You're going to have entrepreneurs, YouTubers and influencers like myself. I could definitely see myself, hosting events within my own custom dome. New startups and game developers, crypto natives, blockchain projects, entertainers, comedians, blockchain enthusiasts, brands, gamers, expo halls, group meetups, performers, singers, groups. There's just so many options. And so this is what I really wanted to highlight here, is that with the Cornucopias team, we've seen, I think they've now had about 4 different mints. They had their first OG bubble jet, or the regular bubble jet. They had the Javelin, and then they had their NFT land sale. We're now seeing a new NFT land sale. And if you guys are not aware, they've constantly been improving their minting technology. So their first few mints were a little rocky, but they owned up to that. And they actually even gave out a free NFT, which was the Javelin. But since then, they've only done but improve. Now you can actually pre-register. They can verify that bots are not being flooded into their minting website, and they have their own custom NFT marketplace. So again, the Cornucopias team is doing a lot right now within the bear market, and they're showing really good signs that they're a project building for the long term. So that's really going to wrap it up there for the custom dome. Again, I'm super excited. I'm definitely going to be participating in that, and I hope that you guys can get in on that as well. Now, one other thing that I want to highlight about Cornucopias, as I mentioned before, so much news coming from this team. Last week, we saw the first ever video released to the public in terms of their mobile game. So the Cornucopias team will be building their Cornucopias metaverse, which will be available not only on PC, it's also going to be available on desktop and mobile devices. Now, there's going to be 2 versions of the Cornucopias metaverse, and I want to be clear here about that. So the version that's going to be running on PCs will be the full-blown metaverse running on Unreal Engine 5. And the graphics I'm going to be showing you guys here, or that I just showed you guys actually in the custom dome slide deck, those were from Unreal Engine 5. So really high quality, very crisp first gen graphics, AAA I should say graphics. Now, the second version of the Cornucopias metaverse that we're going to see in terms of the mobile game will be built on Unity. So Unity will be a different game engine. So the graphics will look a little bit different, but don't be alarmed. The mobile version of the game is basically going to allow for you to play mini games again, but it's not going to be the same thing as the full-blown metaverse. So I just want to get that out the way. I know the team has been very adamant in making sure that that's clear. And then one other thing that I do want to stay here before I show you guys any of this in-game footage or this mobile footage is that I want to say that this is a work in progress. So a lot of what we're going to be seeing released over the next few weeks can change, and it probably will change, right, as more people begin to get access to the game, and then as the Cornucopias community begins to actually implement some of the feedback from the testers, right? So I think that we're going to see this evolve, but I do want to highlight that this is a work in progress. So without any further ado, let me share my screen once more, and I'm going to play this video. Now, as I'm playing this, I do want to give a shout out to some content creators. The first one is going to be Scruffy. He is a Cornucopias OG within the Cornucopias Discord, and he's been a content creator solely focusing on the Cornucopias metaverse, and he was actually one of the first creators to break this content directly on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out his channel, I highly recommend that you do that. He has some live streams covering this in much more detail. And then the second YouTuber I want to give a shout out to is Eddie Z, and we're actually watching this footage here directly on his channel. So I'm going to skip this here, but I highly recommend that you guys give both of these gentlemen a follow, as they'll be releasing more Cornucopias content in the coming weeks. And so what we're seeing here again is the first bit of gameplay. And what you're going to be doing in this mini game is actually defending the train from these bandits. So you have your shooters basically on the top of the train, or the protectors, and you can basically upgrade them as you want. But then as you progress through these different levels, you're going to have different bandits with different abilities trying to attack the train. Your objective is to basically protect all of the corn on the train and defend it from all of the bandits. Now, in the process of doing so, you have the ability to use different power-ups, different upgrades, and things of that nature. So it does look like the Cornucopias team has put a lot of thought into this particular game. And over the next few weeks, we should start to see this open up to the greater public. Now, a few things I want to mention here is that the second round of testing for this game is currently underway. And what we're currently seeing is that if you want to apply for testing, you have to hold one of the mythic NFT vehicles. So that's going to be either the mythic OG Bubble Jet, the regular Bubble Jet, or the GTI Javelin. Again, the mythic is going to be the highest rarity, so those are a little bit more expensive. But Rob and Josh did confirm that they do plan on opening the mobile testing to the general public over the next few weeks. So if you don't have a mythic NFT, don't worry. You can get access to this metaverse or to this mobile game in the next coming weeks. All right, now I think that's it for Cornucopias. The last bit of news that I want to cover in today's video is going to be surrounding a partnership announcement that the Genius team has just made. Now, if you're not familiar with Genius Yield, they're going to be a non-custodial automated market maker launching on Cardano with a smart liquidity management platform. Now, with that said, they do plan on offering 4 core features. The first is going to be what they call smart swaps, and this is basically going to be a swap that execute at a particular price range. In addition to that, they plan on having concentrated liquidity, which is basically going to be the ability to allocate liquidity at a particular price range. And so this allows for you to be a little bit more efficient as a liquidity provider. And then they're also going to have a smart liquidity vault, as well as an auto compounding feature. Now, I'm not going to go too much further into what the core solutions that the Genius Yield team plan on offering, but I do have a fully dedicated video surrounding all of their different core services and what they're actually planning on building in the next coming months. So I'll leave a link to that in the description down below if you're interested in finding out more about the Genius Yield team. What I want to highlight here is going to be this recent announcement surrounding them and the World Mobile Token. Now here, this is a recent announcement stating that Genius Yield is pleased to partner with World Mobile Token, which is a Cardano-based platform that aims to provide power to a multi-trillion global mobile network. The goal of this collaboration is to make access to financial education easier while bringing practical and tangible DeFi use cases to ordinary users. And so World Mobile Token shall support Genius Yield's liquidity pools in the Genius DEX and Smart Liquidity Vaults. And then in addition to that, on the other hand, Genius Yield shall set up and provide early access to the Smart Order Router, which is an off-chain order matching bot for the World Mobile Token. And so this will be interesting. It looks like they're both going to be working to help each other out. Genius Yield will be offering some of their DEX services to World Mobile, and then World Mobile will be offering some of their networking services to Genius Yield. Now, they do also plan on launching some NFTs, so I want to quickly highlight that here, and then we're going to wrap up this video. So additionally, Genius Yield and World Mobile Token shall collaborate to design and mint 2,000 utility NFTs. Holders who opt to stake their NFTs together with WMT via the Genius DEX will receive a higher WMT yield. So if you hold one of these NFTs and you basically provide or you stake your NFTs on the Genius Yield platform, you'll be eligible to earn additional yield. Moreover, NFT holders will get early access to VIP areas or native World Mobile app features. Holders will also receive a 25% discount from the 1-year long paid blockchain course offered by the Genius Academy. So if you guys are not familiar with the Genius Academy, it basically equips readers with the necessary tool sets by availing in-depth articles for users to better grasp the increasingly sophisticated and dynamic crypto and DeFi ecosystem. So it's basically an educational platform that you guys can use to educate yourselves as a holder of one of these NFTs. So again, you're going to be able to get benefits on both sides of the aisle, whether you like WMT or whether you're coming from the Genius side. You're both going to be able to get some kind of utility from these NFTs. Now there's going to be a total supply of 2,000 of these NFTs, and they're going to be distributed as follows. 1,000 of these NFTs will be airdropped to the WMT community and Earth node operators. One other 1,000, or the remaining 1,000, will be distributed to the Genius Yield community. Now, one thing I want to state here is that there have been inquiries within the Genius Yield Discord, and they have yet to confirm what you'll actually have to do to be eligible to earn one of these NFTs. But over the next few weeks, I do anticipate that they will be releasing what we actually have to do in order to be able to gain one of those NFTs. So I'll be keeping you guys updated when it comes to that. But that's going to wrap up today's Cardano Scoop. Again, if it's your first time visiting the channel and you appreciate these kind of Cardano updates, then I highly recommend that you guys subscribe. If you guys could also tap that like button, it's going to help to get this content out to other viewers like yourself. And then if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to leave them down below. With that said, I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.